All right, we are live for a Monday edition of the People's Talk Show. And I'm excited to be back, man. Looking forward to connecting and more importantly, finding out what's on your radar. What are you guys keeping your eyes on? And so I have, a long list of headlines that I've saw throughout the day, and I want to touch on them bit by bit and just skim through them and then share my 2 cents on it, then open up the phone lines and we'll see where it takes us this evening. But happy Monday to everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I want to make sure that everything is working smoothly on my end. So let me know via the chat. Throw me a thumbs up if the audio is good. Hopefully, there's no issues like there was, last time we tried to live stream. But anyway, won't be long today. Just want to check in, share my 2 cents, check in with you guys, see what you're keeping your eye on, and just basically just keep one another plugged into what's going on because so much news, so much stuff is happening in real time that it's hard to keep up to date with what's going on. But we'll do the best we can. And before I move forward, I want to welcome any first-time viewers to the community. Definitely let me know where you're watching from via the chat. And then when the phone lines open up, the number you guys can see, 313-462-0027, is the number where you can call and let your voice be heard. And I definitely would love to connect and find out what's going on with you guys. So real quick, we got Barlight Broker checking in. We got Jay Danik. We got Ed checking in. MW Roth. We got SAS Finance as well. Supernatural checking in. Daryl checking in. Appreciate you guys, man. So I was trying to, figure out how to, start off this live stream and what subjects to touch on first, yada, yada, yada. But then again, knowing that everything we're being bombarded with from the media, I've seen several reports on Twitter where you have the reporters, literally laying down in the streets, pretending as if they're in a very, hostile environment area. And then you got people walking behind them, just like, what's going on with these people? It was just so much fake stuff out here nowadays. It is, man, it's crazy. But then we know that there is, unfortunately, a lot of, death, destruction, and everything else in between. So definitely nothing to take lightly. But just between trying to filter through the news and see what's real, what sticks, what doesn't, it's getting harder and harder. And so it's hard to formulate an opinion on information that's given to you when it's already slanted and biased coming from the Western media. And then you go to the Eastern media, the news over there is a little bit different. But then again, it all says the same thing because they're all working in cahoots together. And that has everything to do with, the push or the race, I say, towards this new world order or restructuring of the current world order and who's going to lead the way. And so I got two articles here where Biden's saying, we're going to lead the way. Then Moscow comes out and said, nope, you're not leading the way. It's going to happen without you. And then, of course, we got right now, World War III is trending right now on Twitter because of Elon Musk and some things he shared about how the world basically de-dollarizing and our actions is forcing the world to move on without us. And then again, that plays into the conflict happening in the Middle East where you have everything happening out east between Russia and China, and how over the last 6, 7, 8 months, I've been talking about how, Saudi Arabia in particular were trying to lead the way, as well as China, as being the mediators of peace in that hemisphere. And everybody's signing agreements, signing deals, memorandum deals, and bilateral currency swaps. And for the most part, the East has already moved on partially towards what they are trying to accomplish with the Belt and Road Initiative, the Global South movements, all that stuff that we've been talking about forever. But then over here on the West, we were left out of it. West referring to the US and the UK and all those other G7 nations that have enjoyed status as the leading voices on the planet. And so it was a matter of time, I think, before the East and the West come together with their different ideologies and beliefs and viewpoints. And the collision course happens to be somewhere in the Middle East. And of course, Israel is being used as the next catalyst to probably kick this thing off. So a lot of things there. I just ranted on a lot, but curious to get your guys' thoughts on that, man. So feel free to have at it. As always, me just trying to make some more graphic. I miss my graphics. So just put together something real quick in reference to the whole New World Order. So behind me, you have some gentlemen sitting at a table. Let me move this out the way. You have people sitting at a table, and what they're doing is basically just negotiating or attempting to negotiate, and there's dollars on the table. So basically what I'm getting at is that everything that's taking place now has a lot to do with the fact that the global sovereign debt bubble is bursting. Look at the yields on all the debt instruments issued and they're sky high right now or heading very high, that's a problem. So what better way to cover it up or kick the can down the road other than creating conflict? And then you got the military industrial complex back on back on the board again. We went through the season of the pharmaceutical industrial complex getting paid. Now it's time for the military industrial complex to get paid as well. So yeah, it's a repetitive cycle. But anyway, yeah, a lot of rant right there. But if you haven't, hit the thumbs up, show your support for the channel. And let's just dive right in, man. I don't want to be too long. As I mentioned, want to just get to the nuts and bolts of everything that's happening and let you guys, filter through what sticks and what doesn't. So, okay, let's jump right in, man. Let's jump right in. Let me make sure everything's good here. I feel like I got a lot of energy tonight, so I'm ready to just pour it all out there. Okay, before I do that, let me just jump into what's going on. So we know all this chaos is happening in real time, and so I want to definitely give a shout out to 4 Patriots for basically helping me on this end with helping you guys put some stuff in your hands. So they have this month, they have the emergency preparedness deals. So I'd encourage you if you haven't. And so one of the things in the past is that 4 Patriots is one of the more expensive companies for preparedness, which they have good products. So with this particular deal here, they have a variety of things that are relatively cheaper. And so it's definitely worth your while. They got a solar generator, they got sleeping bag stuff, they got starter bundles, they got food, solar panel, they got battery storage, water systems and stuff like that. So a variety of things for you guys if you're interested. As always, want to make sure it's available to you. So go to 4patriots.com/RTD, or the link is in the description if you guys are interested. So definitely take advantage of it if you would like. All right, let's keep moving. So here's another headline that caught my attention. Couldn't help but start off with this one just because everything that's been thrown our way, as I mentioned, is a part of the greater distraction. The world is moving away from the dollar-focused way of life, and the world wants alternatives. And so because the West was being left behind, in my opinion, as I mentioned when I first started off, what better way to kick up the war drums and to let the world know that, for the most part, we've been running this world order. And I'm talking about not necessarily the U.S., but the puppets that oversee the U.S. government, the UN, World Bank, all the oligarchy families and things of that nature that actually tell our politicians what to do. And also the, what you call them, the legislative bodies, our Congress, whatever, that all are on a take for other special interest companies and all the lobbying companies, all those people that's lobbying our politicians. Those are the ones who actually put bills into play that are signed, and they give it to us as if it's a choice. So anyway, it's the article here. U.S., and this was spoken as of last Friday. How convenient would he say something like this in the midst of all this chaos when the West now, or the U.S., is literally being drawn into this bit by bit, or because we were part of starting it with Israel's help, we are here, or not we, but they are here now to really get the thing rolling. So it says U.S. will build a new world order. And so this has to do with the speech given Friday. And real quick, I'll thumb through this. And so this is some statements pulled from Joe Biden. It says the current U.S.-led world order has sort of run out of steam, but Washington will shape the system that replaces it. The U.S. President Joe Biden told supporters on Friday. And it says leaders in Moscow and Beijing, however, argued otherwise. So it went on to go. It says, so I think we have an opportunity to do things if we're bold enough and have enough confidence in ourselves to unite the world in ways that it has never been, says Biden. Says we are in a post-war period for 40 years where it worked pretty damn well, but that's sort of run out of steam. We need a new world order, in a sense, he continued. So if the West, or the U.S. and the Western forces behind the U.S. have been the reason for our oversaturated debt binging problems and death and destructions having ravaged all types of countries throughout the world, he's saying we led that, but now they want to do it again and replace it with something better. And it's like, okay, what can get better than what they've already done, given they've done so much damage? Doesn't make sense. But to counter this, there was a response that came out yesterday. It says Kremlin responds to Biden's New World Order pledge. Said the U.S. president is right in that a global change is necessary, just not the one he seeks. So real quick here, the Kremlin spokesman, Peskov, told journalists on Monday that Russia agrees with the U.S. President Joe Biden's comment last week that the current global order has lost steam. However, he added that the outcome may not align with the White House expectations. He said the world indeed needs a new world order based on absolutely new principles. According to Peskov, the new arrangement should be on international law, not arbitrary rules, and devoid of attempts to concentrate all mechanisms of global governance in the hands of a single nation. So basically, that multipolar world order type of stuff is what that spokesman there is probably referring to. So, so now let's get to as I mentioned, the collision course. We got the East and the West colliding right now in the Middle East with all the stuff they're giving us. So let's just find out how the U.S. is getting back involved in this. So here we got an article here from Zero Hedge. It says Special Ops Marine 3-star general is advising Israeli army on Gaza offense. And so literally, not only are we supporting the efforts, but then again, we have our own forces, our own, military capital going into Israel, helping with their leadership there. So that just goes to show that, I don't think this is just by circumstance or happenstance here. Like this was all part of a much, much bigger plan, of course. And then more, it says report over 12,000 U.S. troops aboard 10 warships advanced to the Middle East. So we got bodies heading towards that region. And so what's the likelihood of they just remaining on the ships? Not too likely. And then again, we're hearing more and more reports about how there's more alleged attacks on U.S. assets, whether it be bases or military. The USS Carney, the video I did the other day. So once again, who can you believe at this point? Because all the information is being fed to us through the Western sources is in bed with the military industrial complex. So it's like we can't really tell who's telling the truth, but we do know what they do want. And that's more spending to keep this debt bubble going. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of casualties in between. That's just how this thing goes. Okay, keeping it going. A couple more headlines here, then I'll let you guys rant. Here's more of what's going on. U.S. sending more missile systems to the Middle East as it prepares additional troops to deploy. So sending bodies, we send in weapons, and all we need next is just a oops type of moment, and then we're going to be drawn into that, and then that goes into all the narrative right now that everyone's talking about, World War III. Like, some people say it already started, some people say it is yet to start. It depends on how you define it. But then again, because the U.S. has always been at war with somebody to protect our supremacy of our currency, we've already been in a war. And so I think the currency war led by the Eastern Hemisphere is what has drawn the West into this, where it's coming to a head right now in the Middle East, possibly. So something just worth paying attention to. But it doesn't stop there. It says Israel, Hamas. Let me see. Where did my article go? There you go. It says Israel-Hamas war revives interest in U.S. production of Iron Dome missiles. And so it says Israel's war with Hamas has revived the U.S. interest in producing munitions for Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. The U.S. Army and industry officials said a development that would help a U.S. regional ally resupply for future conflicts. So military industrial conflicts, more U.S. taxpayer dollars being spent to send elsewhere. And of course, we all saw or heard about how a lot of the Congress, all of a sudden, before things jumped off in the Middle East, they all loaded up their shares in the major companies here, whether it be with Boeing and what else we got here, Lockheed Martin and all those other war machines. They all loaded up just in time by coincidence, I guess. Anyway, so it doesn't stop there, because it looks like China also is not going to stay out of this. So it says China, PLA stationed up to 6 warships in the Middle East over the past week. So not only we got U.S. ships going to the Middle East, we got China sending 6 warships amid rising tensions from Israel-Gaza war reports. And so it says the arrival of a replacement escort group in the Gulf region meant 2 advanced O-52D destroyers have been stationed there for a time of heightened tension. So we got 2 world superpowers, top two economies heading towards the Middle East. Like, it's just not gonna be a kumbaya, come sing, let's roast some marshmallows together type of event, unfortunately. So, but then again, I mean, this is what they want. So doesn't surprise me one bit. Raytheon, there you go. I saw that comment there. Okay, so what else we got going on here? This goes into a lot of narrative of what's really going on. And so this is just the WW3. Everybody, not everybody, but a good chunk of people now talking about WW3. So is that the new psyop, or that's the new mainstream media buzzword that we're going to hear from this point on out? WW3. We're going to see those figures there, and once again, beating those war drums. Also, the fear drums. Turkish President Erdogan, Gaza hospital bombing was an inside job to ignite WW3. So at first he came out and said it was Israel. Now he's saying it was an inside job. Inside job by who would be the question. Yeah, we all know. The collaboration of the U.S. and Israel, in my opinion. Okay, but that's just Erdogan. Let's get on to another one. So this is out of order here, but let me get here. So this is what is right now led to World War III trending. If you guys can't see it because I'm right here, but let me move myself over. So right now, as I am talking, we have World War III trending right now, right here. And so this is from a earlier live session that what's his name, Elon Musk was on, and it's about, let me see, a minute and 29 long. I want to play just a little bit so that you guys can hear what he talked about, because it wasn't so much about the actual war that caught my attention. It was more so about the monetary side of things, which is a catalyst or playing into the war. So let me grab this speaker so I can play it through this microphone here. All right, so hopefully it plays. Let me got to get this was a little impromptu, but hopefully you guys can hear it. Give me 1 second here, and I'll play it so you guys can hopefully hear it as well. But this is Mr. Elon Musk. I'll play a quick snippet because I think it's very important towards a bigger picture other than what we're being fed. And weaponizing the dollar with sanctions. So because you're now seeing a lot of countries de-dollar their transactions. Because we've sort of forced it, and this goes beyond even Russia, China, and Iran, because countries like, say, Brazil or India still want to transact with Russia. They can't do it with dollars, so we force them to de-dollarize their transactions, thus weakening the strength of the dollar in the world. So, like these actions are strategically much, seems to me. All right, I'll stop it there. But as you guys can see here, he started off talking about the de-dollarization process underway and how we're forcing the hand of other governments to do that through sanctions, and so that has prolonged and pushed us towards this point to where now this World War III talk, and it's like there'll be no return. Like, we can't return from this if we get to that point. So just something that I thought was worthwhile, because you have Elon Musk sharing his opinion on what's going on, and of course he is the richest fiat currency holder on the planet. And I say fiat because it's just in paper terms and dollar terms, but then again, the owners of the Federal Reserve System and all the other assets, they have a lot more. I'm talking about the Rothschilds, the Bilderberg, things, people like, those families are the real wealthy. He's just uber rich. But anyway, but point was, WW3 de-dollarization, all linked together. Next one here. This gets into a little bit of what's happening on Main Street. So this is just some things that caught my attention about the housing market, man. It's just, I just see more and more stuff. We got the mortgage rate, 30-year mortgage rates, hitting above 8%, I haven't seen that since, what, 30 years ago, or no, late 2000s, or I'm sorry, early 2000s. But real quick here, just thought I'll share this. I'm sure you guys might have seen it, might have not seen it, but real quick, just talks about how over the last couple of years, due to financial repression and just the destruction of our monetary system, and what used to be simple, you could usually have about $60,000 annual income, could grant you the keys to a typical U.S. home. But hold on to your hats, because as of 2023, you're going to need a whopping $114,000 per year for what the very same privilege, that's a jaw dropping 90% hike in just 3 years. So interest rates go through the roof, borrowing costs goes up, and unaffordability continues to pick up. So just this little graph here, it shows that everything that's priced in dollars in a more negative sense is trending upward. It's trending upward. We got the overall money supply as a result of all these crises continue to trend up. Fed balance sheet, overall since 2007, 8 going up. We got student loans going up. We got credit cards going up. We got bankruptcies going up. We got defaults going up. We got, you name it. They're all trending up in a very negative sense. And so nothing good has come from this debt cycle whatsoever. But then again, in the U.S., it's afforded us to live better than the rest of the world. But then again, at what cost? Because that's what a lot of this Middle Eastern conflict is going to be about. So anyway, okay, let me just get through a couple more. So of course I can't help but not talk about this. We got 6,800 UAW workers go into strike. So the Stellantis, so that's, I think it's just some large numbers I put out there earlier. So never a good day. We got people walking off, but then again, they're walking off at the same time. The economy's not doing well. People aren't spending the way they used to. Companies aren't lending as much. So therefore people aren't buying, cars at 8, I hear some of the interest rates on these cars is, 15, 16% for the people who got, that subprime, like, no credit type of credit. So it's like, okay, people aren't spending like that, and it's just not going to end up well. Then last one here, big bank layoffs numbers. Big banks lay off number thousands, with more on the way. So we got people walking out on purpose to get what is rightfully theirs, get a bigger share of the pie. No doubt is a righteous cause. At the same time, we got banks laying off because things aren't profitable. So the same financial institutions that usually lend money for people to buy cars, they're firing. And then you got people walking off the job. So it's like, it's going to be a ultimate collision that just won't end well. It won't end well one bit. But anyway, okay, let me open the phone lines real quick, and I'll take a couple calls, and we'll see where it takes us. But as I mentioned, it's going to be a shorter live stream just because I'm trying to get more of a format of just getting more information out, hearing from you guys, and then trying to, repeat that system and see how it goes. So phone lines are open. Let's talk. Let me know what's on your radar. What else are you guys keeping an eye on that I did not mention that's worth bringing to the fold? So once my phone opens up, we should be good to go. Or put out some comments and let me know what you guys are keeping your eyes on, because there's never a dull moment in the midst of a monetary restructuring, a global monetary restructuring. So one of my thoughts was earlier is that we got the collision of the war, or the narrative of World War III starting. That's going to be bombarded down our throat. But then again, you'll never hear the mainstream economists, pundits talk about the global sovereign debt crises that the world is also experiencing. And so one is going to be used to cover up the other one. So you don't pay attention to the debt bubble. You pay attention to the destruction and death, and all the images on Twitter they're showing us of all these kids and stuff like that. And I'm like, a couple of years ago, that would have been considered like, if I posted something that was of that gruesome magnitude, I already got flagged. But now you can post all types of gruesome stuff, and they just let it rip. And I'm like, okay, you can clearly see, free speech, or they literally trying to feed you with garbage to tap into your emotions. Anyway, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve P. Marie 9.
Steve, what's going on, my friend? Give me something quick.
The UAW strike. It's starting to get cold outside. I saw a couple of news broadcasts where some of those people were saying, hey, I forgot the guy that's in charge of the union, but they were telling him, hey, look, we're ready to go back to work. So I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, watch this real quick. Watch this real quick. I drove past one of the picketing signs at one of the buildings, like downriver or something like that, and they had the barbecue grill. They were grilling, they were serving like hot dogs, and it was as if it's like they were feeding the strikers. But it's just funny, like driving by smelling like ribs. It made me want to pull over, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Cold outside, and then where are they gonna put all these migrants that are running around everywhere? Where are they gonna put them? It's starting to get cold outside. People gonna freeze to death.
Yeah, they're gonna be. I mean, well, they're gonna send them to New York because I heard all the major 4-star, 5-star hotels in New York are booked right now for the migrants. So that they're covered there. They're gonna send them to Chicago. They're gonna just pack out downtown Chicago. They're gonna send them to all the prestige hotels in Cali as well. So they're coming your way.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, and the last thing before I get off here,
Mhm.
with everything going on and given how Biden is leading us to as much war as he can get us involved in,
Mhm.
they're gonna have the draft is gonna have to come back. They're gonna have the body.
Yeah.
The draft is gonna have to come back, and that's I'm not hearing a lot about it in the news. Just simple math tells me we know we don't have the troops,
Right.
so they're gonna have to be draft.
Yeah. And unfortunately,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, unfortunately, like the current state of our youth is not necessarily nothing to brag about because our kids is they used to more so using their thumbs scrolling than they are gonna be pulling the trigger. So it's like you sending kids over there for the slaughter. So it's good to say they're gonna have problems with that because nobody in their right mind gonna willingly go. So it's gonna be a lot of unrest on that because and I got young ones and my boys ain't going flat out. You know what I'm saying? Won't hook or crook. We're gonna find a way to make that sure that don't happen. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that one. But I ain't for me though.
That's one thing that everybody doesn't even think about, and I do agree with you. The kids are too soft nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Set out, set out for that, man.
They don't know
Right.
nothing about no war.
If they do bring it back, oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be problems. It's gonna be some major problems. Major problems, especially if it happens before this election period cycle. It's gonna be like okay, that's gonna be a major point to make sure that people, whoever, because as of now it's gonna be Biden and Trump. But I think between now and then, the way this WW3 stuff is heading, this just plays right into the fact that we may not end up having that presidential election the way that a lot of people also forecasted. So, yeah, just nothing good comes through this, man.
My two boys are 24 and 22, and the
Mhm.
22-year-old, he's stationed in Japan right now.
Mhm.
And they're talking about sending him over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, man.
It's going to pop up at some point. I guess they're saying that a lot of people are starting to Google about the draft
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've looked for information on it to try to do like a little short or something like that, but I ain't found nothing solid to run with. But it's coming. It'll be here probably beginning of next year. It'll be here because between now and end of this year, we won't see how this go. Because I got a feeling that we may end up having a little oopsie accident to where the U.S. is drawing to something heading into the holiday season, and then that'll be a more way to boost the economy again because we're gonna need a couple billion trillion to keep this going, and then the debt bubble gonna be cooled down a little bit because they're gonna go back to that QE type of monetary policy. So yeah, yeah, man. But anyway, appreciate you, man.
Talking about everybody's got the food already.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
man, oh my,
Yeah.
7 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And listen.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good old Steve. But no, the draft stuff is real. That's going to be something that people will definitely have a very strong opinion against. And so now it's just a matter of like how do they try to sell it to the public is going to be the thing. How do you sell sending kids to a foreign land to fight a fight that isn't even ours. Hello, Carlos. Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Ed, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. What's on your mind?
Let's throw a couple at you real quick and then hang up and let you answer. Steve was breaking up an awful lot on my end.
Okay.
But anyway, questions. Are you pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib rapture?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you tie all this Middle East stuff into Bible scripture, maybe Ezekiel 38, 39? But I think Israel actually gets overrun versus the next time Christ comes down and saves them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted your opinion on that. I'll let you go, brother. Thank you.
Sure. Appreciate you. Thanks. Good question, man. So I am more on the pre-trib side. From the way I've interpreted scripture and the way it's been revealed to me is that the body of Christ, aka the church, will be caught up before the tribulation period begins, i.e. resembling how in previous times God always managed to save his own right before the calamity struck in major events where people were foretold ahead of time on what they should and shouldn't do. So I'm of that mindset there. And then as far as the biblical ties to current events, I haven't really dived too deep into trying to figure out, because I sniff that this Middle East conflict is not necessarily, it's spiritual nature, of course, everything is, but I don't think it's like something that is going to lead towards that actual military conflict where the nations will attack Israel directly and therefore bringing in the mediator, the Antichrist, the man who will come up with the peace resolution type of thing. I don't think that's right now. I just think that everything right now is still premature. And as I mentioned before, it's more so about the debt side of things. And I think even they have limits as to where they want this to go, because I don't think they're done trying to really execute their overall restructuring or world order as they're putting it. So I think they're literally still trying to iron things out for their own game plan, to where I don't think they want to go nuclear type thing to where they're going to, lose a substantial amount of lives outside of what they already, predetermined. So that's just my little thoughts on it. But I don't think it's biblical, wholly the way that it's going to take place before the church is removed. I don't think so for that. So that's just me. All right. What else? The U.S. turns on Israel. Yeah. All right. Well, watch. We got that 30-minute mark. And as I mentioned, I was going to try to cram as much as I can in. I'm trying to stick to my time to get as more articles in and get more calls in. So for those who want to participate and call in, try to get those calls in sooner. That's going to be my goal. So I don't draw this thing out to where I'm here just ranting and accomplishing much of nothing other than just, of course, connect with my people. But anyway, that's all I wrote for tonight, people. Just wanted to check in, share my 2 cents on some things, give you guys something to chew on. Curious to get your thoughts. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment down below. And I'm going to try to do it tomorrow night with the same structure and give you guys a chance to call in and let your voice be heard a lot sooner. And so just trying something different on my end here to shake it up a little bit and to keep myself, motivated behind the mic. But anyway, all right, good people, be blessed, be safe, and I will see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing. Shalom. Bobby C, I see you, man. Which topics, let me see, which mining stocks should I invest in and what investing platform should I use? That will be considered financial advice, unfortunately. And so I can't really share that. Do me a favor, shoot me an email at rtdnews@proton.me and I'll share with you some things that caught my attention and we can go from there. But I can't give advice, but I'll share my opinion. Anyway, appreciate that and hopefully catch you guys later.